I am having trouble figuring out how to start this video. So today is June 5th, 2020, and it officially has been 1 month since my mother has passed away. So I don't know how to mark the anniversary date of my loved one's death, and I know 1 month may not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but this is really the first death that crippled me, stopped me, and brought me down to my knees. So I'm struggling because how do you be okay? I was talking to someone and I said to them, I'm going through the motions. I'm doing all right on the outside, but it's kind of like looking at a house, right? You can have a beautiful house on the outside where the grass is green, there's a white picket fence, 3-car garage, and then you go inside and it's disaster zone where it's just a mess. There's a couple of different reasons why I'm feeling the way that I do. One is racism that's clearly paramount and an issue that is plaguing the country right now as we speak. There's things such as riots happening. There's things such as protesting happening because racism still exists and is very prominent. There are different types of racism that exists, and I believe my mother, who is a Japanese woman, is a product of experiencing racism, which resulted in her death. So my family recently got the death certificate, for my mom. And it was talking about how COVID-19 was the leading factor that led for her to get secondary illnesses that ultimately led to her demise. A nursing home in Fitchburg is responsible for the maltreatment of my mom. So I don't know how many people know about the nursing home culture, but it is not uncommon for ratios not to be met, for these agencies to be for profit companies. And in Massachusetts, there has been an immunity bill passed, immunity legislature, that talks about the protection of healthcare workers, so that they get some form of immunity and not held accountable if someone dies from COVID-19. Now, I do believe that the bill has its purpose, but what I don't believe is that people that are abusive, neglecting patients, and the business owners that tolerate this type of behavior should be protected under this legislative act. Well, unfortunately, it seems like the way that the bill is set up, there are loopholes where private nursing home owners and top level senior executives are able to get out of being held accountable for the deaths. So let's talk about the deaths. Where are they primarily occurring at? And from what? From COVID-19. So yes, skilled nursing facilities, rehabilitation centers, these types of organizations are being hammered left and right. And because what this illness demonstrated is that there are a lot of nursing homes that were never prepared in practicing a lot of the things that they should have been practicing, and there were weaknesses in the way that they were overseeing the day-to-day activities to respond to the residents' care. My mother fell. My mother didn't get food, water, and I'm not quite sure because my father has asked for the medical records on numerous times, and he has still yet to get the medical records from the nursing home to get proof that they were doing the 2-hour vital checks like they were promising that they were doing as form of a treatment plan. So the concern that I have is I have personally volunteered at nursing homes, and I've seen a lot of the staff members quickly mark off that decline to take medication button when they didn't work very hard to offer a resident their medication or food or water in a very tactful, creative manner. Now, a lot of the people in nursing homes are older individuals. Some of them are hard of hearing. My mother, her primary language was Japanese, and it was specifically well known that my father was the translator for her to help. And also, my brother and I helped basically translate when my mother was having some difficulty understanding direction. But we weren't called. We weren't notified. We weren't even notified that there was an active case prior to her admission. Now, my family is very protective of the elderly individuals within our household and our family. I know that there's a lot of other cultures and people that have the same practice. Accountability. If you do your job halfway, are you held accountable? Let me ask you that. So let's say you have a job at retail and you have a quota and you do things and you don't meet that quota. What could happen to you? Do you get a letter of reprimand? Are you held accountable? Are you fired? Well, why is it different for healthcare staff that neglect patients and they die? To me, that's a way bigger problem. So today marks 30 days since my mother has passed, and tomorrow I am going to visit her burial site with flowers. My husband bought a beautiful arrangement of flowers that is, I can't remember what type of flower or plant, but it talks about like dragon something. But anyways, my mother's a fierce dragon in my eyes, and she deserves a beautiful flower arrangement. My father is going there tomorrow, as well as my brother, and we are going to social distance but take turns mourning and grieving for the loss of my mother, because now it's been a month and it feels like an eternity, and it also feels like it just happened. So try to be gentle with yourself if you're in a similar situation, but also fight back against the people in a very tactful and ethical manner to hold people accountable for the death of your loved ones if it was done in a manner that is inappropriate, unethical, and unsafe. So I hope that racism stops in the country. You know, it was really weird because when I was growing up, racism, my mom was targeted quite a bit, but I was sheltered from that. I didn't understand, but my mom always communicated with me that she was treated differently. And in a way, I didn't believe her, and I am getting very angry at myself for discrediting her so quickly because I wasn't experiencing it myself. If you look at me, you may not realize that I'm 50% Japanese and I have some different forms of Caucasian ancestry on the other portions, such as Irish, English, and German. You may not realize that. Or maybe you do by looking at me. Maybe you can tell just by my features. But kindness, but strength. That's what I'm going to demonstrate. And I will not be silenced. My mother's legacy doesn't end with me giving up hope that someone's going to be held accountable. I will continue to pursue this until there is a level of recognition. I don't want someone's money. I could care less. I make my own money. I make good money. I don't need your money. But I want the truth to come out where it's recognized and people are held accountable and reprimanded for the maltreatment of a human being. So, Mom, I love you. I'm sorry that you're gone. I look in the mirror and I look just like you when you were young. So I know you're with me. But I miss you so much. And my heart is broken. So I hope, please, 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 there's an afterlife or something so that you're happy living with Aunt Tomo and Bachan and other members of the family that have passed on. I hope you're partying away with them, drinking sake. Hell, I hope you're drinking tequila shots. I know you were never drank or anything like that, but you took care of me, and I took it for granted, and I'm so sorry. And I try to be happy and put a smile on my face, but my heart is broken, and I love you, and I miss you. So please, I hope you're there thinking about me, just like I'm thinking about you every day. I love you, Mom.